What's up, fellow lords of gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Marvel Future Fight. So we're picking up still with the Fair Self update, and we're gonna take a look at Juggernaut. This is an interesting character, and I want to kind of get to the nitty gritty and kind of make this one really quick for you guys. So let me load it up front in the beginning by telling you, why haven't you hit that like and subscribe button? Hit that shit. It's going to help me out. It's going to help me bring more content for you guys, especially the way these mother suckers are rolling down these tier 4s at us. But anyways, let's jump right into this. All right, so Juggernaut. Should you purchase this character's uniform? Should you awaken the character? Bottom line is there's a bevy of benefits for you getting characters to T3, getting characters to awakening. The problem with Juggernaut is that we have a combat loaded update in the Fair itself update, because we've essentially got 4 combat class characters, which kind of creates a pedestal. You're right, you know, there's a tier in here, and unfortunately for new players, this is not going to be a character you want to go after. For older players, this is still probably not going to be a character you want to go after. That's the simple truth. The one benefit that you have to leveling up a character like Juggernaut is that the materials needed to level up this character is different than the materials needed to level up all of your other characters. Let me point out what I mean by that. Okay, so basically, when you go about leveling up characters' gear and requirements and so forth like that, let me find a mutant in here who is low level. Let's take a look at Iceman, for instance, right? So if I want to level up Iceman, I still need bios, right? You know, but you can choose bios from whomever you want, and that's the case for everyone. But when I go in here and I start wanting to level up things like, you know, my gear and stuff like that, I start needing Phoenix feathers, you know, I need Mcron shards, things like that in order to level up the character. Still need some ESOs and things like that, but I need different materials. So that's like the one reason why you could say level up Juggernaut in this update. But here's the truth of the matter, and let's take a look at the characters so that way you can understand something. If you wanted to level up this character, unfortunately, to get that character to Mythic, it's going to be a bit of a no-go for most players, because in order to get biometrics for this character, there's only one place you can get them, and that's the X-Gene subscription. Now, I think that they also are selling a shop for like 2,600 crystals or something like that, but unfortunately, to level this character up and get this uniform, you're basically paying 1,000 crystals for the uniform. And then unless you just got lucky and got it from some previous event, you're gonna need a uniform, a mega uniform upgrade ticket to get this character to Mythic. So if I was to go over here to the store and take a look inside here, you're gonna basically end up having to pay $30.99 for this. So essentially you're paying $50 to get that character Juggernaut to his potential, because the truth of the matter is that you're going to have to pay that $40 unless you're wanting to pay the $10 for the X-Gene subscription, which probably isn't going to be enough for you to get all the bios you need to max level this uniform out. It's just that bad, right? And then the truth of the matter is that you have a free-to-play option in Hulk. So you already create the pedestal in terms of Null Breaker Hulks. He's free to play, which this is great because it's another tier 4 character that's completely free to play, and you're stacking him up against a character like Juggernaut. Well, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but Juggernaut's gonna win out against Hulk. He just isn't. So let's take a look at some of his abilities real quick and some of his uniform options and things like that. But we're rolling down the path here. Is this a bad character? No, I actually like it. The problem is I don't like this uniform more than I liked his previous Brotherhood of Mutants uniform. So it is what it is, though. So let's take a look at this, okay? So basically, with the uniform, we've got some serious bonuses here. Obviously, since this is a first uniform for Juggernaut, this is going to have some uniform effects on it. 30% increase from HP, 30% ignore defense, the increased skill damage by 35%, and bonus damage. Meanwhile, there's nothing sitting here on this uniform, right? Now, if we take a look at his awakened ability, which is pretty much standard across the board for him and Titania and Absorbing Man. They're pretty much the same thing there. Critical damage, you can see the ignore target's dodge rate, which is going to make him a good character against world boss legends like Null, because he's getting that 70% ignore target's dodge rate for 12 seconds on that awaken skill. He's get the 70% chance to penetrate, and then a 100% chance increase of charge rate to accumulate true damage. So all of the characters, well, I guess Absorbing Man's doesn't pretty much have that, but all of them pretty much have something similar. So we look at his Siderax avatar. So what do we get different here? Not a whole lot. Matter of fact, what we get is a nerf, because the nerf is where you see the activation rate. Instead of happening at 50%, it's now happening when the HP is below 40%. So it's a bit of a nerf there. But we do get the bonus in terms of no, that's still the same, 65 and 25. I think it was, let me go back. I think I'm looking at the wrong uniform. Yeah, there we go. So let's take a look at this uniform. So Siderax avatar. So we do get the bonus here in the frenzy buff. 60, 5, and 25 is what we get there. The first skill doesn't have anything on it still. We get a difference in fracture here instead. Boulder Charge is his new second skill. We can see the fracture is basically moved onto this ability. We get the stun in 3 seconds. It's 100% chance for immunity to all damage. Was previously there, but is now knocked out, and instead we get invincible. You also see the damage accumulation here, the true damage accumulation. It's been removed and placed on his third skill. So his third skill is also an active V-pad. I'm a little pissed off about it because I thought the two skill should have probably had an active V-pad as well, just so that way you get that feeling of Juggernaut charging around the map. So that's what we get there. So on this new skill, on his new third, we get the true damage accumulation, silence, 100% chance for immunity to all damage is basically moved there. That's a good one. And then we get his fourth skill, and we can see that he has the ignore target, enables ignore targeting effect is on this skill. So that's really good for PvP if you're going to try to throw him inside PvP. He gets the decrease all basic defenses still on his skill, all basic defense, so the defense down for 30% instead of decrease all basic attack by 30%. We get that 30% recovery of max HP on this skill, and we get a 50-25 boost to defense and to basic attack, defense, and all speed. So that's good. Then we roll over to his fifth skill, which is now called Kurth's Shockwave. Not a whole lot going on here. We lose the stun, and we gain paralysis that has ignores immunity for 2 seconds. We get invincibility on this skill, and then we get an increased basic damage for 50% for 2 attacks. So that's not bad. In terms of uniform options, right? So his uniform options for Kurth or Juggernaut, a little bit to write home about. So we got Thing, classic Thing, and it's a, it's the newest uniform for things, so not much to complain about there. I don't expect that we're going to be seeing Fantastic Four uniforms for quite some time. So if you are a fan of Fantastic Four, then this is a good uniform you purchase. We got Rescue. Unfortunately, Rescue levels up the requirement for this character because if you don't have it already, basically she is still going to be require bios that you're going to have to get from somewhere else, which means that's another mega uniform upgrade ticket that you need to level her up, which increases the need for this costume. We got Drax. This is a good costume for Drax, probably his best costume, period. So go out. Then we run into this uniform, 30th anniversary black version Deadpool. Don't know why this was in there. Don't know why this is a uniform, but it is. So then we roll into Makari, and that's a great uniform overall. Why I have an energy attack sitting on this character, I have no idea. None. I'll change that later on. It doesn't make a difference. I don't know why I have that on there. Matter of fact, we can look at the details here, and we can see I'm pretty much maxed out across the board. So I just need to re-roll that to crit rate. Good there. So now let's take a look at these skills on the character overall, see how they pan out, and then we'll wrap up here. I'm not going to show you guys any kind of the gameplay. My suggestion to you really here is that if you really like Juggernaut, then go ahead, purchase the character, level him up, and at your leisure work on getting the uniform options up. But the truth of the matter is that if you're looking for a combat class villain inside the game, you could do better in terms of getting just leveling up Hulk if you don't have him already and you're wondering between the two. If you're a veteran player, you still should be pushing for Hulk because this is going to be the better character overall for you. And then, to be truthful, I'll get into this a little bit later with a Titania review, but Titania is probably a better character in terms of overall usability inside the game because she's going to be able to boost up your combat types with that leadership. But let's take a look at Juggernaut skills because I do like his abilities. So we have the one skill here, which is just nothing really on it. It's a gap closer. This is the skill right here that I'm disappointed that, you know, you don't really get to control this skill. Like, you can press the 2, there's no real control. He just kind of moves in like a, you know, arc kind of angles. Sometimes he just moves in a straight up line. And the bad part is this should have been one of those skills that you should be able to control as Juggernaut. His third skill is going to be the most important one for you because this is going to be the one that has all of that accumulation is going to start inside here. So you can see that skill overall, right? Now his fourth skill, he has this neat little skill. I want you to pay attention to this fourth skill because you need to know when you're aware of when you can actually cancel out of this skill. When you press the fourth skill, do not cancel until he slams that hammer on the floor. Much the same as Hulk, right? And then we roll into his fifth skill, which pretty much just does everything right away. So there's a lot of different things that you can do here with the character. I suggest probably opening up 3 into 5 and then into 4, or excuse me, I did that all wrong. I don't know why I was thinking that in my head. We're gonna go 3 into 4, delay cancel, and then into 5. And that's gonna be your skill, and you can cancel that out as well. So that's essentially rotation. It's pretty much the same throughout all the classes inside the game. It's just like the weird part about Juggernaut for me is that Juggernaut, I don't like the uniform if I'm being perfectly honest overall. He does look like, I don't know what it is about the Fear Itself update, but the lines, the little power lines and stuff like that, they really just kind of like strike me as like, they make the uniforms look very flat is what I mean by it. Like the way those lines pop out, the rest of the rest of the detail in the uniform just looks really flat. And I don't like them. So it's just really weird for me. To be honest with you, I don't like them on a lot of characters except for Absorbing Man. Absorbing Man looks like a badass inside his uniform. So going back to this, Hearts give you the justification for investing inside of Juggernaut, especially if you don't have a fully vetted, you know, Hulk that you can go into, who is apparently being a really big badass inside PvE, which is making me feel great about him because it looks like he's gonna have some PvE value and some PvP value once you get him to tier 4, which kind of sucks in my opinion, to be truthful, because that means he's going to be eclipsed strongly. If at this point, basically, we saw that the character doesn't do very much at tier 3 in terms of gaining any bonus advantages over anybody just based on a uniform, and you basically need to get him to tier 4 for him to be the Juggernaut of, you know, the Juggernaut that he's supposed to be at. It's weird saying that because I didn't mean to talk about Juggernaut, but you're talking about Hulk. So comparing him to Juggernaut is off. Now, if you just, like I said, the big benefit of leveling up a character and awakening a character like Juggernaut is that you need to awaken characters anyway. Sitting on resources and not awakening his character is just worthless, and he adds another awakening. But I would highly suggest that if you're still building up your roster, a character like Titania probably is going to have more benefit to you overall, as she's going to apply a lot more leadership abilities to other combat class characters. So for instance, her leadership ability could be applied to Moon Knight if you've already got him to level 80 or tier 4 to him. She's going to have way more advantages than Juggernaut, who is pretty self-serving in terms of what he is, and it's going to put the, like, Juggernaut's character is what's showing the really weird part of where we're sitting right now, is that having characters who are not making really big impacts while we're getting characters who are getting tier 4s, especially when in the update where it's all combat classes, basically getting to see what the character's weaknesses are, and it's just unfortunate, to be truthful. But I like the character's play. I think he has some great, you know, benefits to plenty of rosters there. I think there's going to be a lot of players who are really amped about having that character on their roster. So just be aware, there's also an additional $39.99 price tag on this uniform that you might not be aware of. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and until next time, peace.